Hello and welcome to another set of turns of Pyrene for Dominion 6. We are on turn 60 in the slowest blitz. Let's see what we've got. We're kind of just scaling away, building up our giant army, finishing up some research. 2 fire gems, nice. Raven Feast for 11 death gems, so you can see, right, obviously not as good as our first one. 15 here, though. So, you know, this turn, right, we turned 6 air gems and 2 turns. Admittedly, right, this guy's got a lot of items, and this is our god, but into, what, 26 death gems? So, plus 10 return, or plus 20 return. Global enchantment goes up for Zan. Don't know, for Vanarus, don't know what it is yet. We'll check in a second. People throwing themselves into the blood vortex. Assassination attempt on, I think this is our demon guy. Yeah, he's got a lot of backup. I would be very sad if he lost to this baby water elemental. Yeah. Let's see. Gates of Horn and Ivory. Okay. So that's 15 glamour gems, increases the range for glamour rituals by a lot. That's fine. So, glamour gems are pretty good. They're less good for us right now. What could he do with all these glamour? I mean, he could do lots of extra fairies, right? Fairies are very good, like Fairy Court, especially if he does, if it is in fact him that has that conjuration discount site. Getting a huge discount on those fairy queens is very big. So he could do other stuff too. He might be making more research boosters. He could be pulling, sort of pulling even farther ahead on research. He could be setting up for other glamour globals, which are Wild Hunt. Maybe. That's not like a super popular one. Eternal Twilight, I don't think he would do. I mean, it's new. I don't know how, I've never seen this cast before. I don't know how good it is. Something he could do. Celestial Rainbow. Doesn't seem super likely. I think 500 gold is 500 gold, but there could be artifacts. Fata Morgana is a nice little province defense thing, but I don't think anybody sets up for a Fata Morgana. And Lure of the Deep. Probably not going to do anything with. Dreams of the Awakening God is the big glamour ritual that people could be afraid of. Now, I don't know that he is doing this, obviously. It is, of course, a 9 you have to research, and you have to be a glamour 8, which is not easy. But all provinces without friendly dominion have an 85% chance of gaining 1 dom spread. You will dom kill the shit out of people with this. It is very dangerous. So that it's one of the, I would put it in a, it's interesting. So I put it in a similar bucket to doing like a Nexus or a Gift of Nature's Bounty, in that it makes everybody want to attack you. But unlike those two, it doesn't really give you any resources to fight with, right? Like when you cast Gift of Nature's Bounty or Nexus and you pick up enemies, you're also picking up all these resources. Dreams of the Awakening God is kind of just killing everybody else slowly. And they have, well, potentially a lot of opportunities to fight you about it. So it's an interesting choice. It's very, I don't know. It has the potential to be very effective, but I can see how it may be buying you all these enemies without giving you the means of fighting them off. But it'd be really nice with Dark Skies or other dominions, Dominion-based effects. Like element, whatever the one that summons all the elementals is. So it's a really interesting choice. But that's just kind of thinking ahead at things he could be doing. I mean, we obviously twice. We are having problems already with our Dominion, and we're like blood sacking. So we need to be more. We either need higher level priests or more priests, and we do have higher level priests we could recruit, right? We could get this guy out there and to preach instead, and a 2 does a much better job than a 1, especially once it's gotten out of control a little bit. We could also go and try and reset this by casting Locusts, which would chew it down to 0, and then hopefully our sacking and our preaching, it pulls ahead of his stuff. But we don't have a ton of Dominion, because we're eating a lot of pressure from all of these thrones. He's blood sacking and is much larger than us, and he's even got like unforted temples going on. Man has unforted temples all over the place. So we're blood sacking to like stay alive, but our Dominion is definitely something that could be at risk in the future. We're doing some more site searching, more crusading, more ravens feasting. And then in terms of foraging, we're doing our own Staff of Storms. Like I kind of mentioned in the other video when talking about people who are putting up mass flight, I think, if you feel like you are ahead, right? You want to minimize variance. And people doing goofy attack rear, mass flight stuff feels like variance. And also when you're in a situation, so imagine you're going to attack a fort. You would love to cast mass flight because it's a lot easier to go over the walls than through the walls. Your opponent knows you want to cast mass flight. So if it's good for them, or like if that's a problem for them, they are very likely to come up with their own storm option. If it's good for, so like, and if it's not good for them, if they want the mass flight to go off, right, they just have to, they can just not give it. And if you're pretty confident you're going to win the fort storm anyway, right, with minimal losses, I just feel like there's no reason to add additional shenanigans. So we're making our own Staff of Storms to make sure that we're going to try and limit the number of shenanigans. Obviously we could also make some out of storm demons who can fight through it. Plus a handful of other items. The Arcane Lens is again going to help to make sure we don't get cheesed by gods and stuff, so we can just banish them to hell. So, quick little turn there. We'll go to 61. Goodness gracious. Okay, Augury missed, Dark Knowledge missed, Augury missed. Ballin has put up Second Sun. So it is now very hot, which is not what we were after. Only 9 death gems this time, so only +6. Wellspring of Secrets, I think that's like 1 water. Which is nice. Okay. Another water elemental. A lightless lantern. Nature gems. So now the whole screen is going to be a different color, thanks Ballin. And it's going to start getting hot. Which, this isn't great for us. We don't love this heat. And we took some heat on our build. So we're not exactly thrilled to have it pushed higher, right? Pyrene as a nation, I think is just neutral scales, or like neutral heat preference. So we're not in love with the temperature going up, and eventually it will start killing the population, right? This is spring, so it's going to get hotter. Also be nice to have our Dominion back in, this province that's like a capital, right? 2, 3, 6, 7 gems. Let's see what else we're casting. We're doing, this turn we're doing more vampires. Another a bunch of auguries, dark knowledge, voice of Apsu, fewer infernal crusades, and some more Raven's Feast. I think I determined right that we could get, it seemed like we had time to get more vampires. They can also kind of hunt in the interim and continue to be useful while other stuff is happening in a way that the Demon Knights currently are not. They're just chilling. So that was sort of the idea there. In terms of foraging, a thorn and thame and a rabbit's foot. So again, we're setting up to not get cheesed, but pretty chill turn. So Second Son took the last empty global slot, I believe. So okay. Good old Abyssia. Very kind. Okay. Go to 62. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to over much spend time in these turns where not much is happening. Try and move through these quickly to get back to the action. I don't want to entirely skip them, but Bronze Pillar is 1 fire gem. 12, nice. Bunch of blood slaves, assassination attempt, and we got two of the peasants with 20 damage sights. Although it looks like we're gonna be okay here. But you never know. This is all new patch at this point. Yeah, we're fine. Bunch of gems for 1 gold. Very nice. Control out a scout. Control out a bunch more stuff. Blackheart and Eye of the Void. Foraging. Augury, Voice of Apsu, Raven Feast, Infernal Crusade. It's really more of the same. I think that they're, I didn't really adjust it right. We did not go for Construction 9 and Artifacts because I expect that Ulm has already taken all the good ones. Even though we have Forged the Ancients, right, and we could make a lot of them, my feeling is that most of the good ones are going to be gone. So it would just be a waste of research. And instead, right, in 2 turns, we'll finish Alteration. We really should have, I think, been moving here. This group needs to move. We need to send our end nap. And we need to try and prep to take this. I think we're just kind of being very, I don't know, laissez-faire with the game. Being, just kind of letting it play out, waiting for stuff to happen around us, which I don't love. I think we could have been much more proactive. So I think that is a bit of a mistake. Go to 63. Man sent us 3 death gems. I can't remember why we did that. This is a nice site. 4 fire gems. It's another enchantment bonus 20. We already have an enchantment bonus 20. So that part isn't very relevant, but 4 fire gems is a huge increase. As far as the percentage goes, it's like 40 something percent. So that's great. If we look at our banks, we're kind of falling behind in spending, right? They're all creeping up. And in some ways, that's not always the worst, especially if you've got a war starter, right? You're going to need to use a lot of gems, but plus some of these, we definitely have other options, and it'd be nice to spend, right? Death is okay, and Glamour's okay. Those are both things that we want more Conjuration to, I think, spend super effectively. So I'm okay hoarding those. Nature, I think we could be foraging more, like more cornucopias, more boosters. There's a lot of nature stuff I think we could be doing to sort of get ready for a fight. When we get to these really late game fights, it's nice not to have to rely on a Sabbath. And so having our, we usually top out at N3 on our Acrobelts. So having 1 or 2 items to get them up to 5s off the bat, and then they can do the Guy's power or whatever, up to a 6, is going to let them cast off a lot of the nature spells by themselves without having to be in a Sabbath, which is just a lot more stable for late game situations. So, and like we have some nature boosters and some cornucopias, but like we could really use probably like 6 more thistle maces, right? Like we could use a lot more thistle maces. And I'd kind of forgotten, we need to go and get like this guy, like just a couple of them, so that we can forge moonvine bracelets. So that's definitely a whoops as well. We should have had a lab here pumping out at least a couple of those guys. As far as earth goes, there's plenty of earth gear. We could be making earth boots and earth bloodstones for similar reasons as the nature items. Especially earth is less good for us than nature, right? We're generally going to top out at earth 2 off of our native stuff. So being earth 4 up to earth 5 is pretty nice with earth power. There's also reinvigoration gear. There's like we could be spending a lot more earth here, I think. Water is, I don't feel as bad about. Water's tough for us to spend. We just don't have very many water mages. You know, eventually we're probably going to do like a Troll King's Court to get more. But we don't have a good way to get cheap water mages. I'd like to be able to forge, the swords. What are they called? The Coral Blade, right? For that extra HP bonus, right? To help us like roll out gnomes and stuff. Or for our Master Serginas or stuff like that. We could probably have made another 3 Dreamstones. Dreamstone's pretty nice. So I think we're kind of letting this get a little out of hand. And you can see we're pretty much capped out on recruitment as well, right? We're going to have a lot of places where we're not recruiting anything. So we need to go fight somebody, and I'm waiting way too long. We should have probably put the plans in motion a while ago so that we could time the start of the war with completing alteration. Instead, we have not done that, and I think I'm going to now be ending up waiting to do. What did I pick? I think we're gonna pick Gaia's Blessing because we do have this path so easily. And this is just gonna very much limit the number of mages we have to put with a particular army to cover all the resistances. So it's probably not great. We'll burn that bridge when we get there though. Because yeah, I mean we're gonna finish Alt 8 this turn. So the question is, do we want to go up Conjuration? In terms of fighting stuff, all that's really gonna give us, I expect all of the royalties gone. I'm sure that Vanarus has taken it all, especially with that Conjuration site that we believe he has. This is going to give us like Wraith Lords, which is a great way to spend our Death Gems. We could maybe get Well. Well would be nice. I suppose maybe we can presume that Zand on Van hasn't actually gotten here because he would have probably already put up Well. But who knows? But getting Fairy Court, getting Wraith Lords would both be really nice additions to our army. In Oration Alt 9, there's obviously the armies, which actually is probably what we go for first. I think for us, it's going to be Army of Bronze. We do not have easy access to Army of Gold or Army of Lead casters. So that, right, they all have the same natural protection buff. Lead gives extra MR, but it doesn't stack with anti-magic, I don't believe, because it's the same number, it's the same effect. And we'll be looking to cast anti-magic just fine. This gives fire resistance, which we don't care about. And this gives strength. We don't really care about strength either, because we will just do the blood strength spell for everybody. But this one is much, Earth 6 is much more doable for us than these cross paths. So I think that's what we're going to go for next. I think that's reasonable. We're going to continue avoiding evocation. Like, there's some nice stuff in here. If we had to go fight Asphodel, we would run up real quick to get Firestorm. but I'm not like currently worried about that. The big one here we're not getting, and we also don't have access to until we get to Conjuration Aid, is Wailing Winds. But we need the Fairy Queens for that, and unfortunately in Dominion 6, it's not even a guarantee when you cast a Fairy Queen that you're going to get Wailing Winds paths. They don't all have air anymore. So there's like stuff here, but it's not really stuff that we desperately need. I already talked about artifacts. An enchantment, the big ones against us, of course, is Demon Cleansing. We are not... I mean, maybe I'm supposed to be trying to set up to cast Nexus. I don't really feel like I'm getting set up to cast Nexus. I do have the enchantment discount site. We're very far away from Astral 8. Lichcraft, not really for us right now. Gaia's Blessing, again, is really nice to limit. One mage covers all of our resistances. Gift of Nature's Bounty is probably something more that we could do, although, again, with our Dominion kind of suffering a bit, it hurts. It's not as effective as it could be. And again, either of these, I think, will draw everybody after us. This is Astral 8. Obviously, I did this math before, right? So this guy's Astral 5, so he's not getting there without an Empowerment, which would be enormously expensive. And our next highest is a Golem. So he's, 3, 4, 5... Yeah, let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6. He's still 2 short. So he would also need multiple empowerments. We're just not... I just don't think we're very close to that. So probably not what we're doing. We're not going to get another Blood 9. It's just kind of drawing from the same well. It'd probably be Tempest if it was, but like Send Horror, we're probably not super relevant. We're just going to do lesser horrors. And we have to empower golems to do this anyway. Corruption is something that we could do. That's one we can definitely plan to do eventually, but we're not doing it. We still have a lot of our own magic and stuff to do. Demon Lords I just don't think are worth it because of the research requirement. If they were at level 8, I'd already have made a bunch, but they're not, so we're not. Let's see, are there any others? Or there's like one other one I wanted to talk about. Army of Rats and Awakened Forest. I forgot to mention, but these are also very good. Army of Rats wasn't as big in 5, although it saw some uses, including in the finals that Sai won, although I think it was used against him. But this is a lot of penalties, including the morale. And it is now difficult to negate with MR. So putting that -5 morale on, and then we, potentially do Blood Rain, and then we do Wailing Winds, is going to make it very difficult for opponents to sort of stand against us. So I think what we end up doing, though, is going for Army of Bronze first. But because let's try to remember. These guys are mostly regular armor, and so Army of Bronze plus the Legions of Steel is going to make them exceptionally tanky. And then we've got regen, and we've got resistances, so they're going to be fairly potent. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. It's turn 63, and we'll keep chugging along until we can eventually go and fight someone. When I finally feel like we're ready, which again, I think this is, certainly in retrospect, we could have stood to be much more aggressive. So anyways, thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day.